This was a huge week for Minecraft as Mojang announced the updates would be going from 1.21 all the way up to 26.0, and we got our first beta in that new system for Bedrock, and that update included subtitles, officially. It also included lots of other parity and even a new look at the furnace design. I mean, it does look fine, but saying that 26.0 is a revolutionary update ignores the hot take that the numbers have never mattered. I and many people remember the titles more than the numbers. This is a hot take, as you can tell from the reply to like ratio, but what's interesting is the fact that, yeah, many people would say this if they are newer players. I think for most of Minecraft history, it's always been the opposite. People knew 1.1 way more than that update title, and if you think about console title updates, no one knew the names of those, just that it was TU31, and so in a similar way, I think that Minecraft version names only really got popular around the update Aquatic, and I think it's the drops where now everyone says the drop name. It's the Chase the Skies drop, not the 1.21.90 drop. This is just a true problem that Minecraft are actually out there trying to fix, interestingly enough. However, some people would say, what's even the point of changing it when it's confusing to players? The fact that we have to call this the 26.0 update, and we're only reasonably sure that it's going to be called that, and we're fairly sure it won't be called that on Java, is proof of the fact that it is going to confuse players. But the truth is, any new version system will confuse people. Even if they went with 1.22 or 1.26, many players would say, wait, but what is this? So going for a deliberately confusing version system allows Mojang to make a big leap forward and also to distinguish the past from the present. We are now in a new era of Minecraft updates, one where the updates are going to be confusing compared to the past, but that was exactly how it was when we went from beta to full release, or when we went from console title updates to Bedrock 1.16s. This is the nature of things, and that is what you've got to expect with a giant company. Sometimes they make big changes, and is this a good change? Well, Chris Rogo says they like it, and it's pretty much exactly what they hoped for they would eventually do, but there's no more confusion on what is a big or small update, which is great, but the Bedrock and Java mismatch is wild. What's the point of keeping them on a different number? This is the truest bit. If they were going to start a brand new system from the ground, which they literally just did, why would they go for different version numbers between Bedrock and Java? If you are curious, the first update next year will be called 26.10 for Bedrock and 26.1 for Java, and then they'll rapidly diverge before the end of the year where there's no semblance of nothing resembles the same version numbers between the two. They could have had the same major version numbers between both for drops, and then have the Bedrock only updates have their own little name on Bedrock, and the Java, hotfixes have their own version system. You could have made the minor updates not link up, and the major updates still link up, but as it stands right now, there is nothing in common between Bedrock and Java, which is the exact thing that so much work was put into making sure that 1.16 would happen at the same time for Bedrock and Java, so why go and undo all of that work when creating a new version system which is designed to do precisely that? Anyway, there's an interesting point that Valkyrie says, which is, how does it work if they had a snapshot for 26.8 or whatever, and they had to delay the update into 2027? Can they then have the next snapshot for 27.1, even though that's the exact same update? Well, yeah, actually, they could, and they've done it before with the current version system, but consider this, the fact that they are so confident of using the version number to represent the year shows us what we already know to be true. They are working on one drop every 3 months, and they are putting that drop out every 3 months regardless of anything else. This is a really impressive pace to maintain as a studio, and it surely requires a lot of segmentation and a lot of work to be done in different ways. But yeah, now Mojang are very sure that when they start work on the 26.8 update, sure, they could technically delay it into 2027, but every year gets 4 drops, and they are very much sticking to this. Even when there are very tight deadlines, we still get the Mounts of Mayhem, which, by the way, just to remind you, is next Tuesday. Also, just to remind you and stark contrast that first comment, I'm not calling 1.21.130 because I don't want to call it that, and I don't even know what it is on Java. The fact is, the Mounts of Mayhem drop will be our last one in the system before we start calling things 26.0, so make sure you look forward to it. But speaking of looking forward to it, I think there's a really fun idea that came from Reddit this week. It was from TrueZombie289, an idea for spear dispenser functionality, and their idea is, what if you put a spear in a dispenser and it could stick out and stab whatever's in front of it? This would be a classic way to bring back an old idea. Do you remember the spike block? That would be really cool if you ask me. And so is that going to happen? Well, I certainly hope that someone at Mojang's listening, because it does seem like the one downside of them developing drops in 3 months and then putting them out there is not only do they come out with a few bugs, but also there's a lot of cool features like this that just aren't inside of the update, and it makes me wonder if that is a good long-term thing. But speaking of good long-term things, Stony Baboon says, a new UI update is what this game really knees, removing all the marketplace BS and focusing it in one place only. Having to scroll to sorry, I love scroll to change a simple setting is a pain, and in Java you don't have that problem because the UI is user-friendly and not user cash-out. So this is an interesting point, but just consider when the new UI comes to Bedrock, they are actively working on it right now, it's very likely that they are going to plan it so that it is more directing towards the marketplace. This is simple. We know that Minecraft is very metric driven. The way they decide which menu design to use or not is based on which metrics people use, and there is a common thing in software design called dark patterns where you deliberately make it so that the option you want the user to do is pushed towards them. For example, look at this little picture from the Wikipedia page. Sign up for a free coupon is giant, and no, I don't want a marketing email is small. The number of people who will click it because it's larger, or because it says that their friends have signed up, or because the option for not doing something is I'm boring and I don't like I like paying full price. Having all of this fake urgency and all of these designs makes more people pay. That's why we do it. And although dark patterns is a bit of a extra nefarious sounding term, the truth is, think about it. If you are in charge of someone puts you at your organization in charge of increasing sales by 5%, either you can increase those sales by improving your product and making more people want to buy it, or you can funnel people towards the right options. I think every video game does this, but look at Minecraft as an example. There used to be 4 menu buttons on the homepage, and then mysteriously we went down to 3, with achievements now hidden in the profile, so the marketplace is slightly more clickable. Then, as well as the marketplace just being one of the buttons, they decided to make it the most colorful one, and the only one that is ever animated, by the way. Look, it changes based on when I click it. This leads more people into the funnel, and when more people go down the funnel, more people say, ooh, maybe I should buy dark fantasy visuals, and that is how you improve your sales by using this technique. This is just the fact of how new UI is going to work. It's not going to remove marketplace stuff, but effectively it's going to increase the number of people who want to use it, and this is very interesting, but it is, just to be clear, a Bedrock thing. When it comes to new UIs across the game, or UIs it's being called, interestingly, we have got a brand new design for the furnace. Also, I built a furnace and then was stupid enough to put fires inside of it, so I've still got this destroyed thing here. But here is what the furnace looks like right now. As you can see, your inventory is down there and the furnace is on top. But here is what a furnace is going to look like after all UI comes out. Ooh, yeah, kind of fancy, huh? And as the furnace fuel goes through, instead of looking like it does right now, instead you're going to see it slowly light up orange. I actually really like this new design, and I think that it represents one of the cool things that Minecraft is doing, and because it's inside of the game, it's not hyper-optimized around the idea of, retention that leads into the concept of making sure that you buy as many things as possible, but I think it is Minecraft genuinely just trying to get a better UI design that works for all platforms. This is what I mean when I say good parity exists. There are loads of great Java features that need to be moved to Bedrock, notably spectral arrows, there's the sweeping edge enchantment, there's so much to do with healing, and I think that every Bedrock player could write you a list of 20 features from Java they would love to have on the Bedrock version of the game, and that's why I think it's so weird that they'll do things like remove the, what you might call horse graduation. That's why I think it's so weird that they focus on these. By the way, I do want to issue a quick semi-correction to that. Anticism says, the thing is, Java did used to have the horses and donkeys that slowly get bigger as they grow when they were first added, but they decided to remove it. However, it stayed in Bedrock. This apparently is true, and the reason they removed it was because many people were looking at a very grown horse and not being able to tell that it wasn't an adult, and so they were a little frustrated by it, and for that reason, I actually do think it makes some sense to do it that way, but it feels like we should have some notice or some feeling that actually this is being done because we want it, rather than out of some sense of warp parity, because there are so many great parity changes they should be making, and they should be prioritizing, and I'm glad that they did do subtitles. That actually is a really good example, but why not take from the list of what Bedrock players want most, rather than taking a look of, weird changes and saying, well, I guess this one makes the most sense. Like, an easy example of this would be removing the shovel from the recipe of the boat on Bedrock. Everyone loved when they did that. Why don't you make parity a word that means awesome, rather than one that people fear and go, oh no, what are they going to do today? Because there are many examples of things that happen that way, and I just don't know that I think it's good. But on the subject of not knowing if I think something's good, I'd like to take a little moment here to respond to Lego Guy 9875's comments. It got 2,500 upvotes, and responding to the idea that Activision almost bought Minecraft, which they almost did back in the 2014 days, but if Activision owned Minecraft, we'd be on Minecraft Black Ops 7 by now, and it's super true, right? Call of Duty was the biggest franchise. Black Ops was the best-selling game of all time, but they decided to make a Black Ops 2 and 3 and 4 because they wanted another best-selling game of all time 2 years later, and then 2 years later. Every year they milked this game so they could get as many sales from it as possible, and ultimately it kind of killed a lot of people's passion for the game, and this is where you've seen the golden goose stop laying eggs, with Black Ops 7 significantly underperforming the franchise average. This is what they did to make more money from the game now. They took away the future money they could have made, and I think that we have to be really grateful that this didn't happen to Minecraft. Minecraft took the route of saying, let's take the one game and make it better and better. If Black Ops had stayed the same game since number one, and they just improved it this much, there were just 25 zombies maps, and there were so many different things you could do in the multiplayer, I think way more people would be excited by that than the situation we actually have right now. And I think it's a fun reminder that, yeah, like Stingray says, as an OG Minecrafter, why does anyone play Bedrock if everyone's complaining so much? It sounds way worse every time I hear someone talk about it, and it's a fun reminder as our discourse about Bedrock being broken reaches the wider Minecraft community that, like, yeah, it's that Minecraft is still Minecraft. It's still good, and it's still, within the general scheme of games, better managed than average, but it's an important thing to say as we move into the final comment, because if everyone else has tariffs and, oh, this is, I think this person commented on the wrong channel here, but the last comment is from Love for Bigger Ton Alston. That's a fun name. How do I figure out the times you are going to be live? I'm always bummed when I miss one. Sometimes they're a little early, but I should be able to catch most of them. I'm glad you asked. So here's the official response. I am streaming for Streammas every Sunday to Friday until I leave for North America at the end of this month. I'm streaming every Sunday to Friday, and it's at roughly the same time, about 7 PM in the UK, which is this time around the world. But if you go to my unlisted live streams playlist, you can see when the next stream is going to be, if in case it's like half an hour or an hour early or late or whatever. And on Tuesday, to celebrate the update coming out, we should be streaming extra long that day, both before and after the update, so that we can go into the update adventures in an update. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's what you can look forward to in that one. But yeah, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed our little dive into Minecraft's new UI. I'm excited for 26.0. I'm absolutely fascinated by this new world we're heading into. And even though some people say, like, well, it's a version number, what does it mean, Toycat? The truth is, in the Minecraft community, version numbers do mean a lot. This is how we're going to refer to updates. And as weird as it feels, is it going to solve some problems? I certainly hope that now is the right time. Mojang has a moment to adjust and listen to the idea about Bedrock Java parity. I think version number parity is good. I think that removing features from Bedrock parity is bad. And I think that, in general, things are going pretty well in Minecraft in the grand scheme of things. But there are other issues, of course, and we will have to go into those maybe in a whole hour-long video. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be a good reason to release the Q&A on a Friday so we can dedicate a nice long one on a Saturday, huh? Anyway, with that said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'm going to go now prepare for the update in my Let's Play, which you might be able to see on Monday if you want to prepare too. Anyway, thank you, and goodbye. I need to widen my camera angle. I get kind of cut off at the sides here. Like, you can't see that I'm waving. What if my elbow is fake? It's not. It's kind of weird, though, if you look at it. Like, my elbows look different. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Have a good night.